Hello everyone, welcome to another Versus Video Deck Tech. I am BBD, joined yet again
CVM.
by CVM. That's right, absolutely right. The bearded menace is back to battle some standard against me. And,
no Brimaz this time though.
Yeah, no Brimaz, no Bioblight in my deck. Honestly, I'm a little confused. What do I do with these cards?
Out of your element?
Yeah, I don't actually know what these cards do. Except Elspeth, because I played that one a number of times. But so we're playing Bant Joe Budden, where we're going to be trying to pump it up with Archangel of Thune and a bunch of other cards with awesome synergies. But really the deck is based around a Johnny, Mentor of Heroes, a new Planeswalker from Journey into Nyx, and that's kind of the center point of the deck. And as a result, our deck has only lands, planeswalkers, and creatures. Nothing else, so Ajani can only brick. The top of our deck is 4 lands. The only way that Ajani's +1 ability does not connect. So there's some awesome synergy there with Ajani, but Ajani also has great synergy with the +1/+1 counters because we have Fathom Mage, draw 3 cards, Sage of Hours, which if we do it twice, we get to Time Walk, or if we have a Voral of the Hullclade in play, we can actually use Sage of Hours, Voral, and Ajani to take infinite turns. So that is one of the nifty combos in the deck. Another combo is we have Fathom Mage, Horizon Chimera, and Archangel of Thune. This is kind of an old school combo, but every time you gain a life, you get to put a counter on all your creatures with Archangel of Thune, which puts a counter on Fathom Mage, which lets you draw a card. And then when you draw a card with Horizon Chimera, you get to gain a life, which resets the entire cycle. So these 3 cards combo pretty sweetly with each other, letting you basically draw your deck and putting that many +1/+1 counters on all of your creatures as well.
And gain a bunch of life.
And also gain a bunch of life, yep. So
it's not quite 100, but you'll gain a bunch of life.
It's not quite 100, but it's close. So probably about 43, if I had to guess. But those are 2 of the really cool combos that the deck has. And then beyond that, we have like Ajani putting 3 counters on things along with Voral. So Voral lets you double the number of counters on a, unfortunately, non-planeswalker permanent, basically. It's artifact, creature, or land we can double the counters on. So that works well with Scavenging Ooze, Fathom Mage, Archangel of Thune, Sage of Hours, or really just anything that we target with Ajani. And one of the sweet things is we can actually use Kiyora's Follower to activate Voral multiple times in the same turn, which can get out of hand pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nifty combos with all the different creatures in this deck. And for the most part, most of them are just good creatures by themselves. Like Archangel of Thune is just an excellent creature, especially with like Elspeth to generate soldiers to pump. We have Scavenging Ooze for each creature we exile. We get to pump our team. Corsair Crewfix, every time we play a land, we get to pump our team. There's just a lot of like nifty combos with all these cards. And then we have like Sylvan Caryatid and Kiyora's Follower to kind of accelerate us into them. And then past that point, we also have Planeswalkers and Jace and Elspeth, just to kind of go along with Ajani as things we can search out with Ajani. And I felt like Jace is kind of necessary in this deck because we need kind of a way to just power through our deck really quickly. And I'm not playing Revelation, because I didn't feel like it fit the theme of the deck that well. I don't feel like we want to, Revelation for 5 or 6 at some point, and all we're drawing is just a bunch of mana guys. It doesn't actually do that much. Whereas Jace comes down early enough where he can actually dig you into the threats that you want to play next. And Revelation can't exactly do that. And Jace also is something you can grab off of Johnny's +1 too. And then Elspeth's just probably the best card in Standard outside of Mutavault. So yeah, I would not play less than 3 in a deck like this because it's just really, really good.
It's just unreal.
And then we have the mana base, and I decided against playing Mana Confluence because I figured with our 2 different mana guys, we probably had good enough mana as is, especially now that we have access to all the temples. I actually tried this deck before. We didn't have access to all the temples, so now that we do, I think that that there's some sweet potential there. And I've set the temple and Shockland setup such that we can generally play a green temple on the first turn of the game, which is going to let us cast Sylvan Caryatid on 2 pretty easily. But then when it comes to the Shocklands, I have 4 of the Hallowed Fountain over the other ones because we have double white, double blue. And thankfully, we don't have any cards that are both heavy in blue or white. So our Hallowed Fountain can always cast Elspeth and Jace, and there's never an issue where like you need the blue you need the blue and the white from it to cast like both parts of Sphinx's Revelation, since we don't have cards like that. So I wanted as many land like blue-white lands that could come into play later in the game. So that's why I maxed on those. I don't know exactly if this is the correct mana base, but that's basically what I came to when I was developing that. So yeah, I'm really excited about this deck. I think it looks pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the sideboard. All right, so we are back with the sideboard, and starting off, we have our good friend Nyx Fleece Ram, the little 0/5 that could. So he is a 0/5, and every upkeep you get to gain a life. And thankfully, we have a creature called Archangel of Thune in our deck.
Does that guy like it when you gain life?
He does.
Oh, man.
It's a nifty combo. So this is just a great roadblock for any aggressive deck. It's hard for them to power through it. Gaining life every turn makes it like hard for them to really finish the job. For example, the Boros Burn deck would have some serious issues beating this guy on turn 2.
Especially if you followed up with the Course of Crufix on turn 3.
Exactly. So there's a problem. That's going to be an issue for them. And also, you know, you can put counters on this with a Johnny and get to beating on in too. He is able to do some attacking. You know, one of my lifelong goals is to turn the Nyx Fleece Ram into a Nyx Fleece Battering Ram. Ba-doom. And then we have 2 copies of Dispel, 2 Negates, a Jace, and 2 Aetherlings. I feel like the control matchup's probably not very good with our 25 creature deck.
Sphinx's Revelation or Supreme Verdict is a card.
Supreme Verdict is still a Magic card, so I went with a pretty hefty anti-control sideboard. Dispel is good at countering Revelation, but it's also good at sticking Aetherling through their counters. So that's the purpose of a Dispel. And then Negate is good for countering their Jaces and Elspeths, which are probably their better cards in the matchup. And then we have our own Jace Memory add up to you know, mill them out or draw some cards, whichever the situation calls for. And then I have 2 Angel Serenities and 4 Detention Spheres. I have no interaction in main deck. I'm just hoping that my creatures will just grow out of control and be able to win that way. But there are going to be matchups where we actually need ways to interact with what our opponent is doing. And that's where Angel Serenity and Detention Sphere come into play, to bring those in to handle cards that we otherwise would have issues dealing with. For example, Mono Blue. Handling Thassa, handling like Master of Waves and things like that. That's where D-Sphere and Angel Serenity are pretty key. But yep, this is the sideboard. We have a lot of various options here, being that we are 3 colors, so I'm sure that there's also more cards that you could add to your sideboard depending on the metagame you expect to play against. Deicide's a great example of a new card that I'm sure we'll see a lot of sideboarded play.
Also, we have green in our deck, and there's no green cards in the sideboard, so we have a whole other color that we could potentially look at.
Yep.
Mistcutter Hydra, Emerald of the Aether, things like that.
Exactly, yep. There's a lot of room there as well. So overall, though, I think this deck's going to be cool, so hopefully it works out. Hopefully all of CVM's removal doesn't blow up every little combo that we try to get going. But we'll see how it goes, and I'm excited to play it, and hopefully it's a good video. So stay tuned for that.